Okay, Lubby, what do we have today?
How does one vent frustrations in a relationship in a healthy way?
Well, the very first thing you should do is, if you're really frustrated, you should probably shut up.
Okay.
And I don't mean that long term. I mean, take a minute to make sure you're saying what you actually mean to say in a productive way. Because when you're frustrated, what happens is you get this big burst of emotion and it comes all flying out at another person at once, and it automatically puts them on the defensive. And so your conversation can't be as productive as you want it. And so by slowing yourself down and letting that emotion actually be expressed over more words and its true nature, then you can actually proceed. Because if all you do is you just smash them over the head with the 10 pounds of emotion, they're not going to know what to do with it. They're not going to know what happened, and they have to be really on their toes in order to try to understand and absorb the situation. And so, whatever you can do to help that, because it's better for you too. These big, wild emotional swings aren't good for you as an individual. It's bad for your health. It's bad for, stress is bad for your mental health. So you
have to talk about your frustrations.
Yeah, well, hopefully you have a relationship that doesn't allow those frustrations to get to a point where you're blasting them out all at once. Hopefully you're having a relationship where it's actually not big of an issue. But if for some reason it is, and you say, how do I deal with I'm frustrated all the time with my partner, how do I deal with it? Well, the first thing is, when you talk about it, is to make sure you kind of park as much of that frustration as you can. Because that emotion makes it hard to have a rational discussion, because you end up not discussing about what's ever making you frustrated. You're talking about being frustrated, and those are two separate conversations.
Okay.
And if you try to mix them at the same time, while the instinct is to try to mix them because they're connected, but dealing with them, you're dealing with two separate things. One is you're dealing with an emotion caused by action, but the second thing is you're dealing with whatever you're frustrated with. There's two parts to it, and we have to honor both parts, otherwise you don't solve it. Because one person might say, okay, I'll solve the emotion part, but I'm not going to deal with the other part because you never get to it. Or you say, okay, I'll fix this stuff, but maybe they didn't actually need you to fix it. They just needed you to understand that you were frustrated, and the fact that you can kind of vent your frustration was really all they needed to get kind of past it. You just need the freedom to say, this really bothers me. I understand it's part of you, but I just need to be able to tell you every now and again that it kind of it's irritating. I don't know, the way you chew your food or something. Who knows? Just pick, pick something small that's not really consequential, but for whatever reason can irritate the bejeebers out of somebody. And maybe they change it, maybe they don't. But the more important part of it is that you feel able to express it.
Yeah.
And so there's two separate conversations you have to have, and you have to have both of them. And when to have which one is the difficult thing. And what happened goes, well, why should I have to decide, right? I'm the frustrated one. Why should I have to make the decision? Why should I have to be on my P's and Q's? Why doesn't the other person?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you're the one having to make the decision. If you're the one making these decisions, then you're the one who has to decide. Now, should the other person be more involved in the relationship? Should they be more attentive? And maybe not. Maybe they are. Maybe they're doing it in their own way, and you're just miscommunicating. And once you can sit down and have a rational discussion, get past the emotion, and you can start to understand each other again. Because frustration is usually just because you don't feel understood. And the minute you can start understanding each other again, that frustration can get lessened, and then you can start dealing with the real issues. That is your daily dose of love.